I struggled with my relationship with God because I thought He was always unhappy with me. I believed that deception for too long. My prayer has been that in spite of me, you three will come to see God as the loving Father He is. He showed us how important we are to Him by sacrificing His only Son, Jesus, so we could be in a relationship with Him. He loves you far better than I ever could. I hope you will someday understand this deeply. I want you to know that I have always loved each of you. You are always important to me, and I will love you no matter what choices you make. I will pray until my dying breath that not one of you will be lost, but that each of you will open your heart to Jesus and find the love I have finally found. Please forgive an old fool who chased after things that never truly fill a man. I am proud to be your dad. With his love, Dad. In Luke chapter 15, verses 11 through 12, it reads, "There was a man who had 2 sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them." This is how Jesus begins the parable of the prodigal son. It doesn't sound too out of the ordinary when we read it. It certainly wouldn't be newsworthy today. But in Jesus' time, around the middle of the 1st century AD, and in that patriarchal, family-centered, honor-based culture, you did not ask your father for your inheritance early. In effect, the younger son was saying, "I wish you were already dead, Dad." The Greek term for property used in verse 12, ton bion, literally means the life. Fathers gave a son life and livelihood through an inheritance, and in a sense, this son is asking for his father's life. Shockingly, the father complies. Because he has 2 sons, and because the eldest son always received a double portion of the inheritance, the younger brother receives about 1/3 of his father's total estate. That the father is willing to grant this disrespectful, selfish demand is our first clue that this is no ordinary father. And those listening to Jesus would have found it hard to believe that any father would comply with such a request. The inheritance the son received from his father was probably land. So when Luke chapter 15, verse 13 says that he got together all he had and left, it likely means that he sold the land he was given and took the money. If it wasn't bad enough that he told his father he wished he were dead, it was an even bigger assault on the family's dignity that the younger son sold his family's land to someone else. So, 1/3 of the land on which the father and older son lived was purchased by a stranger. If the father wasn't insulted, embarrassed, and stripped of his dignity before, surely he was at that point. Jesus didn't provide these details when he told this parable, so it's fair to wonder, what did this father regret? What memories haunted him? What scenes replayed in his mind of happy times past and moments he wished he could change? On those long, bleak days of mourning his son's departure and waiting against the odds for his unlikely return, this patriarch must have asked the universal question of a parent, what could I have done differently? How could I have stopped him? Where did I go wrong? But maybe Jesus' silence on these details holds an aha for the parents of a prodigal. Just as Jesus knew what his listeners would have culturally understood in the day he told this parable, he knows what every parent throughout history feels to their marrow. He understands the loss, the embarrassment, and the confusion. He knows more deeply than we can imagine the sting of rejection from those he has poured out his life for. But this pain wasn't the point of Jesus' story. He knows there is much, much more. If you are living in a chapter titled Pain or Disillusionment, there is more to your story. This may be one chapter, but it isn't the last. He can see